Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hi Larry, how are you? So shall we start, Larry? Now, uh, okay, 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 not an issue. So Larry, we start with the practical part. We want to do the practical of the CFML, right? Okay, just a minute. I have run one code that is a CFML code. So this is one CFML code that is written over here. This is the output of the CFML code. This is the coding part. This is the output of this index.cfm. Look, look on the screen. This is the index.cfm. One is given over here. Where is that? Where is that? There is that. One code is given, that is a guess, and then there is a submit button that is available for guess. That one I have prepared, that one only. Where is that code? I don't know. Where is that code? You remember about this coding part? This is my name is, then the sum of the integer is this one. You remember which chapter is this? Which chapter? Okay, not an issue. I will check with this one. So this is the code, and if I want to view the source, this is the source code. So this is a CF set that we customize, or that we use. That is a CF set temp equal to randomize function. Then session target, that is a 50 and 100. Then there is a font color, that is a guess is in the red font color, that is available in the guess. Then my name is, that is this one. Then I guess the sum of the all integer is this one. That means this is the coding part that is used with this one. So simply, what can I do for executing this one? Simply put this coding. For example, this coding is available for this one. For example, I have to put this coding in one notepad file. I have to first of all copy this coding. I have to give the coding in the notepad file. For example, this is a notepad file. Then I have to save, or first of all I have to remove this one. I have to remove this one, then remove this one. Okay, just a minute, Larry. So this is a coding that is available. Simply save the file. If I want to save the file, simply save the file with any name. For example, I have saved the file with the session, that is session.html. For example, put on the desktop, save it on the desktop. Now go to the desktop. This is session.html. When you run this code, this will be available like this one. This is the ID. When you click on this one, this will jump to the new location, but there is no linking over here. This is a list of the ID for the updating field that is used with this one, right? So in the same way, we have to run the code, that is using this one, we have to run the code. And you see, or you said to me that this is available on the page number 21. Yeah, this is available. So this is guess, and then my name is this one. This is the same coding that is available with this one. This is the same coding that is used with this one. This is the same coding, that is a session a.html, right? So now your doubt is clear how to run the CFML codes. No, no, no. That is a not a. This is not a. We can say the language that is used for the dynamic movement. This is a language only to print the web pages. Okay. Yeah, just an interface. But I said yesterday. Okay. Every doubt is clear. Okay. So shall I continue with the new one? Okay. In the last class we have started with this one, that is session number 4, that is a web databases for opinion polls. That is how to make the web databases for the opinion polls. So how to make the opinion poll for the web databases. We have studied about how to use the CF file. So in session number 3 we have used the tag file, that is we have used the tag, that is we have used the tag, that is the CF file. we will we will learn how to link it, but not in this part, but in the next module or the next to next module, that is the Java module, that is the Java programming module. All right, Larry, because this is just a front page, this is okay, not an issue. So we use the tag, that is a CF file, which permits storing, retrieving of files on the disk when it is required. So there is a CF file that must be written, appended, read or deleted. And if any operations on the individual records, such as a conditional modification or the retrieval of the records, are needed, the file has to be maintained into the memory before it can be processed. The file must be maintained into the memory before it can be processed, and then they return. And modern databases can also store the complex collection of data, and the flexible method for inserting and retrieving the data exists. So whatever the data exists, whenever it is exists, that is required for inserting and retrieving the data that exists. Then next is the databases that we have studied about. That is, what is a database? So whenever we collect the similar files, whenever we collect multiple files into the one location, that is known as a database. An established database includes one or more name table, and each table has two or more name column and zero or the unidentified rows with the column data. That means a database, that is a collection of the table, that is a collection of the rows and the columns. And the connection between the web application and the database we shall use is the Java database connectivity. So as I said you, Larry, that we are learning about the how to make the connectivity in the Java, that is done by the Java database connectivity, that is the JDBC. And database which were used as a backend to Cold Fusion applications are limited to those that requires adequate drivers that exist for the operation system hardware part used. And for the Windows XP 2000 on which the course is based, the drivers are used with SQL Server and so on, so on. That is MS Access, Excel, SQL Server, and the Microsoft Access. In this course, we use the MS Access database, but we also use the MySQL database for this one. And there is an installed specified data source that is available is a CFMX administrator or an accessible administrator or the database, and the name is specifically defined or usually some shortcut. And in this course the data source used name uses a DB. So there is a database that is used as a DB, and if the database corresponding to the data source name exists, the database may be extended with the tables needed. So whatever the database that is required, that is extendable to the table needed. And registering the data source with the CFMX administrator means that it has to be listed as a data source known to the CFMX system. And there is a database that is available as a CFMX system that is used as a standalone, that is the HTTP localhost 8500 CFIDE administrator. Then CFMX SQL. So there is a CFMS SQL that is defined over here. So that opens for the interaction with the database by means of the special pair of tags, that is the CF query and the CF query. There is the opening of the CF query tag and the closing of the CF query tag, between which the SQL statements are inserted. And the tag syntax is this one. So this is the tag syntax, that is the CF query name equals to my query, then data source equals to this one. Then there are the various SQL statement that is defined over here. Then CF query will be closed. So this is the starting of the CF query. This is the closing of the CF query. That means in between this CF query tag, we have to put, or we are able to put multiple SQL statement, whatever I needed for this one. And this is given as a name is a useful reference to the output from a database transaction if needed in other places of the current or other template. That is, the name is given as a useful component, and we shall use, or we shall see the example later on with this one, that is done by the using the data source, that is specifies with the data source, that is a DB data source. And we have studied about the basic SQL statement, that is what are the various basic SQL statement that is defined in this one. So these are the four basic, or we can say the four SQL statement that is used in this one. That is a select, insert, update, delete. So these are the four SQL statement. One is a select, then next is a insert, then update, then delete. Now my question is to Larry. Larry, tell me what is the main differences between these four SQL statement. That is, can you give me the crux of these SQL statement? That what is the meaning of select, or what is the role of select, insert, update, and delete? Yes, Larry, tell me. Select is used to create the entire database. No, 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 Larry, Larry, just a minute. Select is used to fetch the values, fetch the columns from the table, not to create a database. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay, okay. Good. What about insert? N- So it may contain the row, or it is used to insert the row or the column. Which one? I row. Okay, okay. Hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Delete is used to delete the information or delete the entire table or the entire database. Not able to delete the table. Very good. And what about the update? This is used to modify the structure of the table or modify the content of the table. And how to modify the structure of the table? No, no, no. That is dropping is different thing. I'm talking about how to alter, how to modify. That is done by the alter command. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And these are the various clauses that we have studied, that is from, having, group by, having, into, join, ordered by, set, values, where, union. And these are the various compound statement, that is a less than, equals to, not equals to, greater than, equals to, and these are the logical operator, that is a and or not. Then these are the various exist operator, that is a null, in, between, like, exist. Then next is the opinion polling, that is a institute, that is a scenario for the services as we shall use to explain the SQL statement. And in institute investigate the changing opinion among the five competing brands of a certain commodity. And the organization also uses a rotating panel of the voter, that is a different voters are available for making the comparison. And in the mm, we have to choose the panel of the voters to that means what are the various voters and what are the various interviewer that is used to interview the content, that is used to interview the logical fact that is used with the databases. And these are the various days that is decided with this one, that is a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And these are the various table voter, that is these are the various fields of the in the table of voters. Then these are the various element, that is insert the data for the individual, telephonic list for the interviewers, then updating the table, then computing the stats, then rotating the sample. So these are the various fields, and these are the various, we can say, the data that is used with the databases. A link to a complete demonstrator of the application is available at the end of the session. As usual, the application starts with the application.cfm. This is application.cfm. There is a CF application name equals to database. The same scenario that is used with this one, that is application name that is given as a database. Alter is used for altering the database structure, table, and update is used to alter the information. Yes, alter is used to change the structure. That means if I want to change the data type to the boolean or to the long, anything, that is done by the alter table. And if I want to update the details, that is done by the update command or the update statement. Okay, welcome Larry. Then this is a session management, then session timeout. This is for the half an hour. This that is available for half an hour. So this is the same example that is given or that we have discussed. That is the opinion polls. Then this is the opinion poll system that is initialized. There is the application area. Then index. Sorry. Then index.cfm. Then this is the h1, h2, h3 that is given in the blue color. That is h2. Then this is the paragraph that is written over here, and these are the various listing that is used with this one. That is the OL, that is the ordered list. That means 1 2 3 4 numberings are available over here. These are the various numberings. That is a 5. Then we are also studied about the insert statement, that is how to insert the values in this one. This is the form to be filled for adding the new member to the interviewer panel, and these are the various fields that is defined with this one. So this is the form for establishing a list of panel members. So to establish the list of panel voters, a form template will be needed to record and for transcribing the collected information for a table or to a table in the database. And the form can look like figure number 3 in this one. That is the figure number 3 that is look like the form that is available with this one. This is the form.cfm, that is the h2. Then form action equals to this one, that is action equals to add.cfm, that is used with this one. Then the family name, first name, telephone number, age, then area, then input type, that is the submit, then value, that is submit the new panel voter. Then the p will be closed and the form will be closed. As you see from the line 3 in the template, that is the line 3, that is the add.cfm is used. That is the add.cfm. Now what is the add.cfm? That is used to append a new row with the values to a database table, that is the voters. And the panel voters need to assign a unique ID number, and we start by introducing the mechanism that is used in the lines 2 to 5. This is the add.cfm that is defined. So this is first of all it check for the with the if condition. If a node is defined application ID, then set the application ID as a 0. That means if it is not defined, then set 0, otherwise use the application ID as a 1. Then cf query name, that is add, then data source equals to session data source, then insert into voters, then family name, first name, telephone, age, area, vote, value, then cf query will be closed, then cf location URL, that is a form.cfm. Then next is the select statement, that is for selecting, or we can say for choosing or fetching the value, fetching the column from the table, we have to use the select statement. For example, Monday morning the telephonic interview need a list for calling the panel voters, that is to fetch the values from the voters table. So in that case we use the select statement. The SQL statement select is followed by a list of those variables which are required, and the attribute from specifies from which table, that is from which table we want to specify or we want to fetch the data. That is in select statement we have to specify the table from which table we want to or fetch the data. Voters in our application, the variable should be retrieved. As for all the SQL statement, the syntax is very strict. Only variable names specified in the name table are accepted. That is only the variable name that is specified in the name tables are accepted in case of the variable list. That is a select statement. Then this is a list.cfm, then cf query name, that is list, then data source, then select the ID, then family name, number, the telephone number. So these are the various options that is selected with this select statement. Then again the table will be created like this one. This will give the list of the panels. There is a ID, then there is a family, then first name, the telephone, then age. So this is the select statement that is used to fetch the columns. Now what are the various columns name? That is the ID, then family name, the first name, then telephone, then age, then area. Then next is the update statement, that is how to update the value. So this means permitting of the updating of the panel table. For this we use the SQL update statement. So it is saying that the third step in the process, that is the updating of the panel table, or we can say the table voters. For this we use the SQL statement, that is the update statement. Updating requires that the fields of the update forms are populated. Since the fields family name, first name, telephone, age, area are usually unchanged. So since the values are various unchanged, a direct use of insert statement to create the insert table, or we can say the insert or initial table, will require a large amount of unnecessary typing of the data. So unnecessary typing will be created for this one, that is used with the typing of the data, that is used with the various redundant data. The first solution is to retrieve a list of the IDs and update it with the changes needed. That means, in order to avoid the duplication, so the IDs will be generated first of all. So first of all, it is used to retrieve the IDs, because ID is a unique number, ID is not duplicate number. So first of all, the solution is first to retrieve a list of the IDs and update with the changes if needed. The first template, that is the retrieve.cfm, retrieves the unique ID of the current panel voters and produces a list with links to each individual row of the table. This is the retrieve.cfm. This is the CF query name equals to retrieve, then data source equals to session.data source, that is a hash. So that is a CF query that is given as a retrieve, then data source that is given as a session.data source. Then select the ID from the voters, that is select the ID that is given as a voters or from the voters, then CF query, that close. That means this is the closing opening of the CF query, this is the closing of the CF query. Within the CF query, this is given as a select the ID from the voters. Then there is a P, that is a paragraph tag. Then this is the H2 tag, that is a heading 2 tag. Then this is the font color, that is a blue. Then list of IDs for the updating. So this is available as, or this is given in the H2 with the blue color. That means the font is very big with the blue color. Then CF output query, that is equals to retrieve, that is the output query that is given as a retrieve. Then the table will be created, and table will be created that contains the tr td for the retrieval form, that is the ID will be generated for this one. Then tr will be closed, table will be closed, output will be closed. So this is the example for the list of the ID for updating. This is the next retrieve statement, that is the next retrieve, that is retrieve the value. Now the condition is that where the value equals to ID number. So this is select the every field from the voters where the ID is equal to ID number. For this you have to update this one. So this is the output of this one, that is the update form for this one, that is generated with this one. We have also created with this one, that is how to create the, or how to make the updated form. So this is the family name, this is the update voters zone. So family name equals to hash family name, that means we are giving the value, then first name, then telephone number, then age, then area, then vote, where ID equals to ID. That means if the ID is this one, so update the statement with this one, that means update. Whenever I click on update, so the automatically the whoever vote have a value A, that will be updated in the database, that is the Peter Smith 618347, then 23, then 1, then A. This template demonstrates the CF query tags with the statement update. The update statement specifies the table voters which should be loaded, uploaded or updated, and use the attribute set with the list of the name value pairs of the variable to be updated. The update refers to the row where ID equals to ID or hash ID hash. That means the update that refers to the row where the ID equals to hash ID hash. Also in the update statement, the different components must have exact names and acceptable values with no comma delimiter before the where clause. So there is no comma delimiter that is used with the where clause. And finally, by means of the CF collection, the control is transferred to the retrieve.cfm. That means the control is transferred to the retrieve.cfm template to produce the list and for the selection of the another voters for the updating. So that is the selection of the another voter creating the update that is used by filling the updating values. Now next is the statistical report, that is how to deliver the statistical report, that is the next topic, that is today's topic. Now when all the received update have been performed, so whenever we have received every update, so if I want to update the 4 values and if I received every update or all the received update have been performed, the database table is ready for providing the data for statistics of the week. That is data is, or it is able to perform, or database table is ready to provide the data for the statistics of the week. That means it provides the data for the week, that is what is the output, what is the profit that is available for the week. In this example, we aim at very simple statistical report about the number of panel voters that having a preferences for each of the 5 alternatives. And the computation can easily be extended to computation of the preference frequencies by age and by area. That means the computation that can be extended to the computation of the preference frequencies by the area or the age. That means we are giving the value, we are giving the report on the of the statistical report, that is on the basis of the age and on the basis of the area. The presentation of statistics requires 4 steps to be performed. So it requires the 4 steps to be performed. First is defining the frequency variables. The next is retrieving the data. The next is computing the statistics, then presenting the result. So these are the various four steps that is required for this one. So four steps are needed to be performed. The first one is defining the frequency variables, then retrieving the data, then computing the statistics, then presenting the result. So these are the four steps that is required for the presentation of the statistics. The template compute.cfm takes care of these tasks. That is the compute.cfm. Now set the value of a as a 0, b as a 0, c as a 0, d as a 0, e as a 0. Then cf query name, that is statistics. Data source is a session.data source. Select the vote from the voter, that is select only the column that is the vote from the voters table. Now cf query, then cf loop. Now the loop will run, that is the query equals to statistics, then cf switch statement. So there is a switch statement that is available, that is the cf switch expression, that is a vote. Now what is the case? First case, that is a cf case, that is a value equals to a, then cf set a equals to hash a plus 1 cf case, then cf case value equals to b, then cf set b equals to b plus 1, then cf case value equals to c, then cf set c equals to hash c hash plus 1, then cf case value equals to d, then cf set d equals to hash d plus 1. That means it is giving the values as a cf set, it is storing the value of the a, b, c, d. Then cf case value equals to e, then cf set e equals to hash e hash plus 1. That is available with the cf set e, that is a case of the cf case. Then next is the CF output, that is the opening of the CF output. So this is the looping that is closed, that is the switch case we are using. Then there is a CF output, then P, then H2, then font color equals to blue, the voters or the voters this week, that is the font will be closed, then H2 will be closed, and the P tag will be closed. Then the table, then there is a TR in the table. So there is a table that is created. So first of all there is a TR, that means the table row will be created, that is a row. Then there is a TD. Within the TD, within the cell there are multiple parts. One is the TD, that is the alternative, one frequency, then the TR will be closed. So within one TR there are two cells, one contains the alternative, next contains the frequency, and both are in the bold. Then TR, then TD, then ATD, ATD, then TR will be closed, then TR, then TD, then BB hash, then TR, then C hash, then TR close, then TR, then TD, that is a TD close hash close, then TDE hash, then TR will be closed, then table will be closed, then CF output. And after using CF set to define a set of 5 aggregate variable all with the 0, that means we are defining the 5 variable with all with the 0, that is A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the 5 variable that is defined with the zeros. A CF query with select statement of all variables in all the rows of the voters receives the data from the database. It is followed by a CF loop block with a CF switch case. So there is a CF block or loop will be used with a CF switch case and connected with the database, and connected CF case statement to do or to loop through all the rows of the retrieved data from the voter. So that is used with the CF case, that is used to loop through all the rows of the retrieved data from the voters and to count the number of cases with preference for A, B, C, D, E. This is used for counting the preference for the A, B, C, D, E respectively. And when the looping has finished, tabulation of the 5 frequency variable and their values is done by means of simple set of table. That means when the looping had finished, the tabulation of the 5 frequency table and their values is done by means of the simple set of the table tag. So there is a simple set of the table tag that is used with this one. Figure number 7 shows a distribution of 3 panels voters that can be used for this example. This is the vote week this week. There is the alternative, there is a frequency. The first one is A, then frequency is 1 because we are defining the A and the A hash, that is a 1 because A is incremented by A, 1, then B plus 1, then C plus 1, D plus 1, that means 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1. And there is a E, that is a D as a 0 value, E as a 0 value. because this is defined over here, that is E has a 0 value, then D has a 0 value, then A, B, C, D, right. Next is the delete statement. That is the next part. So the final part, or the final part of the system is to make the system rotating, that is creating a template which adds a new at the end of the list and delete the first voter of the list. That means we have to delete the voter of the list that is used by this one, because for deleting purpose we use the statement that is the delete statement. So for deleting the statement, or for deleting the content, we have to use the delete statement. So this is the form 1 dots or form 2 dot CFM, that is a CFM, that is a cold fusion markup that is used. So that is used to create the form that is used to delete the contents. It creates a form for filling in data for a new voter, that is a form 2 dot CFM. Then there is a H2. Within the H2 there is a font color, that is a blue. So font color is blue, and this is written as this one, that is form to be used for deleting and adding the voters to the panel. So that is the form is used, or form to be used for deleting and adding the voters to the panel. Then the form will be closed, or the font will be closed. That means it is available in the H2, that is a form to be used for deleting and adding the voters to the panel. Then there is a H3, that is a new data or the new data voters, or that means it is available in the H3, that is a heading number 3. So the a form to be used for inserting and deleting adding voters is written in the H2, that is a large font. Then there is a little bit low font, or a down font, or we can say the small font, that is the H3, that is a new voters data. Then that is a form action equals to delete dot CFM, that is a form action to delete the form, or the form action equals to delete.cfm. Then P, that is a paragraph tag will be used, that is available as a family name. Then input type equals to text, the name equals to family name. Then P, first name, that is a type equals to text, name equals to first name. Then telephone number, then type equals to text, name equals to telephone. Then P, age, that is from the 18 to the 100 years. Then the input type equals to text, then name equals to age. Then P, area, that is 1 to 10, that is the input type is text, name equals to area, then the P will be closed. Then input type, that is a submit, the name equals to new member, value equals to submit the new panel voter, then the form will be closed. So this is available in the form, that is form for rotating the members, that is done by the delete statement. Now, when the form is completed and submit, it calls upon the template, that is the delete.cfm. So when the form is submitted and closed, it is calls upon the template, that is what is the name of the template, that is the delete.cfm. So this is the template that is used. It starts by retrieving the values, by retrieving all the ID values from the voters by means of the simple select statement. So it is received by means of the simple select statement, and the ID of the first row can be found in different ways. So there are multiple ways by which we can find the IDs of the different rows. So that is defined with the different rows. So that can be used for defining the different rows. That is one of the part of the assignment operator, that is defined with different multiple rows. So there is a CF loop statement that is used with the attribute setting, that is the start row 1 and the end row 12, which only expects the first ID, which is defined as the voter ID equals to hash ID hash. That means the voter ID that is given as a voter ID that is given as ID, that is a hash ID hash. This variable is used in a CF query with the SQL statement delete from the voter. So this is, or this variable is used in the CF query. So there is a CF query that is used with this one, that is used with the select statement, that is select statement delete from the voters, and for the row which has the ID, which has a row ID, that is used with this one, that is a voter out, which completes the task, which is used to complete the task with this one, that is deleting the first voters of the panel. So that is used to delete the first voters of the panel, that is used in this one. It has a ID equals to voter out, which completes the which defines completing the new value that is used with this one, that is deleting the first voter of the panel. Now this is the coding that is used for the deleting the first, or that is used for deleting the first panels of the coding that is used in this. That is a voter a row has a ID, that is a row equals to voter out, which complete deleting the first voter of the panel. This is a deleting dot or delete dot cfm. Now this is the CF query, that is a name equals to retrieve. So what is the query name? The query name is that retrieve, that is the CF query name is retrieve, and the data source that is given as a session dot data source. So it is given the retrieve or the CF query name, that is a retrieve, and data source that is given as a session dot data source. And then select the ID from the voter, that is selecting the ID from the voters. So select the ID from the voter, then the CF query will be closed. So there is a CF query that is starting with this one. Within the CF query that is available with this, that is a select the ID from the voters, then the CF query will be closed, then the CF loop, then query equals to retrieve, then start row 1 end row 1. That means the CF loop that is given, that query name is a retrieve, and the start row is a 1 and the end row is the 1. Then CF set, then the what is the meaning of the CF set? That is defined with the CF set, that is a CF set that voter out equals to retrieve ID. That means the retrieve ID is given, that is given with the CF set, that is the voter ID is the CF set. Then CF loop will be closed. So this is the CF loop that is opened with this one, that start with the 1 and with the 1. Then voter out that is given as a retriever ID, then there is a CF loop. Now again there is a query. So this is one query that is given over here. This is one looping that is given over here. Then next is the CF query, that is the name equals to delete, data source equals to session dot data source. That is a CF query, that is the name equals to delete, and the data source equals to data source or session dot data source that is available. Then delete from the voter, that is delete the values from the voters where the ID equals to voter ID. So delete from the voters, that is delete all the values or all the columns from the voter. Now what is the condition? Where ID equals to voter out. So whenever there is a ID that is a voter out, in that case the delete from the voters. Then CF query will be closed. Then CF set, that is the application ID. So this is the CF set that is given as the application ID, that is application ID plus 1. That means setting the application ID that is incremented automatically by 1. So if the CF application ID that is given as a 0, so it is incremented by 1 because it is plus 1. Then again the CF query is given, that the name is equal to add, then data source equals to session dot data source. That means the CF query name, that is the add is the name of the CF query. Then data source that is given as a session dot data source. That is the query name equals to name, then the session ID or the session or data source that is given as a session dot data source. Then insert into voter, that means inserting the values into the voters. Now how to insert into the voters? That is ID, then family, then name, then first name, then telephone, then age, then area, then vote. So these are the various codes, or these are the various columns in which we can defining the value. That means inserting the values into these columns, that is the ID, then family name, then first name, then telephone number, age, area. Then the CF query will be closed. And then these are the various values. So what this side, They said insert into a table voters and insert into these columns of the voters, and what are the various values? The ID contains the application.id, so ID column contains the application.id. Then the family name contains the family name. First name contains the first name. Then the telephone contains this telephone. Then age, this is hash age hash. Then area, then this is the area that is defined over here. Then vote. In the vote, this is defined as a blank. So this is defined as a blank, as we studied in the last class also. There is a blank, that is field, that is used for the new entry that is covered in this one. That is, these are the various values. Then there is a closing of the CF query. So the CF query will be closed with this one. So the second part of the this template adds the submitted data for this, for the new panel voter at the end of the table by means of the CF query and insert statement. So there is the insert statement that is given with this one. Note that the new value of ID is computed by the tag in the line 11. So this is the new ID that is generated, that is the +1. So this is generated with this one. So whenever I am doing the +1, that is generated for, or that is used for generating the values, that is the application ID, family name, first name, telephone, age, area. So the second part of this template adds the submitted data for the new panel voter at the end of the table by means of the CF query and the insert statement. There is a CF query that is displayed with this one, that is displayed with the CF query statements. Note that the new value of the ID is computed by the line in this one. In this section, we have discussed some of the simplest and the most basic SQL statement available in the Cold Fusion. So this is available in the Cold Fusion. That is one of the most important and some fruitful SQL queries that is available in the SQL languages. In later section, we shall demonstrate what are the various additional features that is used with the CFMX, that is the Cold Fusion markup languages. So we are finished with this chapter. We are finished with we can say session number 4, that is the web databases, that is how to use the web databases in this one. Now next is the exercise questions. So in this session we have interacted with the database. You have developed the complex application by integrating the local as well as the remote services that you have to do the task. Now try to copy this session template, implement them on implement by using implement them on using the template. So implement them on your own server and run them. Then this is read the chapter 17 in RBB and try to design this one. So these are the various exercises that is defined in this one. So if I precise on this chapter, we have studied about the various statements that is used in this one. So these are the various statements we are main focus on. These are the 4 SQL statement that we are focusing on. One is the select, as Larry just said to us or said to me. Then that the select is used for fetching the values or fetching the columns from the table, that is done by the select statement. Then there is the insert. So if I want to insert the values in the multiple columns, that is done by the insert statement in the SQL. Then there is the update. If I want to update the values, for example, if I want to update the values that is used to update the statement that is available in that is used to available or update the values. For example, if I want to change my name or surname or last name, that is used. So that is done by this one. So that is done by the update statement. So select is used for fetching the for fetching the value that is available for this one. Insert is to inserting the values into the table. Update is to modify the table. Then delete is used to deleting the values. Delete is used to deleting the values in the statement. So that is the delete statement. These are the 4 statements that we are focusing on. Now the next session, that is the session number 5. That is the session number 5. That is the web perception application. That is how to display it in the text form. That is how to display it in the browser form. That is outline of the design. So these are the various outlining, that is a web perception. So how to perception, or we can say how to use a web with the databases, that is a web perception database or application, right? So let's take a break right now, then move to this session, that is session number 5, that is a web perception application. So let's take a break right now. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. So the next session is the session number 5, that is a web perception application, that is how to use the web perception application or how to believe in the web perception application. So there is an introduction, that is how to present a visual message to the public in such a way that it will be correctly perceived and remember. That means how to present a visual message, how to present a message that is available to the public in such a way that it will be correctly perceived and remember, so that it will be correctly perceived and remembered by the person. So that is how to present the visual message. This is a task of great importance for the politicians, information agencies, product promoters, news media, educators, and many more. So this is the task of the great importance of the politicians, or this is the task for the politicians, information agencies, product promoters, news media, educators, and many more. And it is an essential task of an information for an information agency with the responsibility to disseminate the facts to the public about the local and the global events as a background for the democratic parts or for the democratic industries, decisions expressed by a election or the referendum. So whatever the referendum, whatever the election that is taken out, or that is taken out for making the background images, so that is how to present the perception, how to present the information, so that it will be remembered by most of the persons, or it will be remembered by the person that is used with this one. So that is used for the demographic, that is used for the background and the demographic decision that is expressed by an election or the referendum. A news promoter may have several options for a fact presentation. For example, it may be discussed in a text form. So it may be discussed in a text form. It may be discussed in a table. It may be displayed in a table. It may be expressed in a graphical chart. It may be read from an audio recording. It may be played as a video. So that is one of the case. That is, the promoter may have several options for a fact presentation. So if I'm giving the presentation, there are multiple options that is used with this one. That is, either it can be displayed in a text form, either it can be displayed in the table, either it can be expressed in a graphical chart, either it can be read from an audio recording, either it can be played as a video. So it can be played as a video, it can be expressed in a graphical chart, it can be read from an audio recording. That is discussed in a text form, that is displayed in a table. The problem is that we have little knowledge about the relative effects on the public of different multimedia options. There are multiple multimedia options that is displayed with the multiple effects, that is displayed with the little knowledge about the relative effects of the public of the different multimedia options. One approach to learn about the impact of the different alternative fact representation or representations on the public opinion can be to design and carry out an experiment using the web. So this is used to carry out the experiment using the web, and web experiments must satisfy the general principle for the experimental designs and will be highly achievable and will be highly achievable and will be highly achievable. So this is one way to learn about the impact of the different knowledge. So this is there are different knowledge that is used to learn about the different facts or the impact of the different alternative fact representation on the public opinion that can be able to design and carry out the task of an experiment using the web. Web experiments must satisfy the general principle for the experimental designs and will be highly dynamic web application. So whenever I am using the web experiment that is able to design, or that is able to carry out the task that is used for the experimental design, and will be highly dynamic movement. So there will be highly dynamic presentation that will be generated for the principles for the experiment design, and will be highly dynamic web application that is developed. In this section, we shall study the design and implementation of such an experiment limited to this one, or limited to the third presentation or first presentation form listed above. Now, what are the three categories by which we can able to, or by which we are able to generate the forms? The first step is to create a system which simulates the alternative presentation to the public. That is, the first step is to create a system that simulates the alternative presentation to the public. So what are the various alternative presentations that is given to the public? As already pointed out, a system can be designed and implemented as a dynamic web application. So the system can be designed for and implemented using a dynamic web application. And the next step is to recruit the participant to participate in the experiment. So the first step is to create a system that simulates the alternative presentation, that is what are the various alternative presentation that is available in the public. And as pointed out, such a system can be designed and implementing as a dynamic web movement or dynamic web application. And the next step, so first of all, create the alternative presentation that simulates what are the various presentations that is available to the public. Then design such a system that can be designed and implementing as a dynamic web application. And the next step is to be recruited the participant to participate in the experiment. That is, recruit the participant that is to be participate in the experiment. And ideally, the participant should be a representative sample which we want to inform. This can, however, be both expensive and difficult. So this is very difficult and expensive. That is able to design, that is able to difficult, and frequently we recruit the volunteer, a strategy which may decrease the representative of the sample. The perceptions of each participant from the exposed presentations are measured and recorded and will finally be tested for significant differences. So that will be finally for the used for the finally significant differences, that is tested for the differences. As an example, in this session we illustrate the experiment on the net by the set of the 25 socioeconomic facts. So that is displayed, or that is experiment will be taken out by the set of the 25 socioeconomic facts which we present in the alternative waves, and observe how the participants perceive the different presentation. That is how the participant will perceive the different presentation. That is a part of the 25 socioeconomic facts. And the recruited participants are recorded by their individual attributes. So the recorded participants are recruited by their individual participants or by their attributes that permits to classify their express perception according to the participant category. So this is achieved by the participant categories. And a keyword distributed to each recruited participant gives access to the experiment and serves to keep input from the participant separated. So whatever the participant that is separated one, that is separated for the that is separated to keep the input from the participant separated. And each participant in the experiment will be presented with the random sequence of the facts. So that is represented with the random sequence of the facts. And the representation of I'm so sorry. The representation of each fact is also randomly determined. That is, the representation is also determined by the use of the keywords, and the presentation is displayed for each participant for a period of random length. So that is displayed with the period of the random length. That is what is the length of the data. What is the random length of the data? That is a part of the period length or random length. And following each presentation, the participant will receive a form for reporting his perception of selected characteristics connected to the fact. So whatever the perception that is selected for the perception of the fact, that is given as a characteristics. And the purpose of the randomization of the presentation and the time is to avoid any systematic influence on the result. So whatever the influence, whatever the systematic result that is displayed, that is a randomization of the presentation and the time that is used to avoid any systematic influence on the result. That is the main purpose of the randomization of the presentation. That is how to create the presentation. That is pick up any presentation at a random. That is a web perception application. And following each presentation, the participant will receive a form for reporting its perception of selected characteristics connected to the fact. So whatever the characteristics, whatever the perception that is given, that is selected as a participant perception, that is used as a form for reporting his or her perception of the selected characteristics. Now, what is the main purpose? That is to avoid any systematic influence on the result. That is the main purpose of the randomization. So why we randomly pick the presentation and the time, that is to avoid any systematic influence on the result. The experiment has been carried out with several groups. A published paper in .pdf format with some results is available in this one. Now, outline of the design, that is what is the main designing, how this will be performed. This is the main diagram, that is how the experiment structure will be performed, how the client will be contacted with the server. We implement a CFMX application system with a database as a backend component for keeping the references to the gallery of the presentation. That means we implement a CFMX application system. So there is a CFMX application system that is generated, or that is keeping out, or that is implemented with the database as a backend component. So this is implemented as a backend component for keeping the references to a gallery of the presentation. So this is used for making the keeping of the references to the gallery of the presentations and for storing the feedback from the participant. So for storing the feedback from the participant, that is used with the gallery of the presentation, and that is used for the feedback from the participants. This is one of the browser that is available with this one. Then there is a ULR, and that is a uniform resource locator. This is not ULR, this is the URL request. Then there is a presentation, then there is a form, then there is a responses. Then after getting the responses, that is available with this one. So this is the web server. So browser request for the, or browser is requesting to with the web server. Then there is the experiment system. Then within the experiment system, there are two parts. One is the presentation gallery, one is the participant records, and the perception reports. So one is the participant record that is available with this one. One is the perception report. So this is the browser. Then there is a web server. This is the experiment system. And experiment system contains two parts. One is the presentation gallery, and one is the participant record, that is the perception reports. This is the browser, then there is a ULR request, then this is the presentation, this is the forms, then this is the responses. We focus our discussion to the web application dimensions of the experiment and assume that the participants are recruited by other professions. So this is assume that the participants are recruited by other professions or recruited by the other professionals. Now, the participants will work with their browsers on the client computer. So they work with their participants, or they work with their own browser, that may be using own browser, that may be a Firefox, that may be a Chrome, that may be any presentation or any browser that is used with this one. So the participant will work with their browsers on the client computer that is connected to our server by www, and between each client and the server there are four streams of messages, two in each direction. So there are four streams of messages that is used with the connection of the messages, that is used with the connection of the direction. And from the client, request for the participation. This is the client, that is the request for the participation, that is the browser, that is the request for the participation that is carried out, and the responses to the form will be moving to the server. So from the client, the request will be carried out and the responses will be formed out to the server, and from the server, the presentation and the related forms for responses will be sent out to the client. So that is the server task, that is whenever we are using the server, the presentation and the related forms for the responses will be sent to the clients. The experiment is based on a set of the 25 international facts from the socio-demographic domain. So whenever we are using the experiment, that is based on the 25 international facts that is used from the socio-demographic domain, and each fact is represented in a three alternative presentation: textual, tabular, and the graphical in the gallery of the images. So whatever the gallery that is available, that is designed for the textual presentation, that is used for the graphical presentation, and other representatives such as the voice and the animation can also be added. And each participant who completes the experiment will be seen all the 25 facts, each presented in a one and only one of the three alternative presentations. So whatever the three presentation that is represented, that is used with the demographic part, that is used for the analysis of the part with the satisfaction number of the participants. So that is a recorded presentation that is used to, or that is asked to complete a standard form about the perceived characteristics of the fact presentation. And with the satisfactory number of participants, the recorded data will be permit analysis of the perception record that will be used to represent the data, that is used to represent the form, that is used to represent by their in demographic characteristics, that is used as a voice and the animation, textual, tabular, and the graphic. So that may be using any form that is using for this one. That may be a graphic, that may be a textual, that may be a tabular, that is using any graphic that is used with this one, that is used to present the data, that is used to present the liquid information, that is a presentable, and the request form that will be used as a scene to the presentation, or that is seen as a presentation that is available with this. This can be achieved for making the presentation available with this one. So that is making the presentation fruitful, so that it will be achieved, so that it will be carried out within the textual information that is carried out for making the transaction fruitful. So they are the textual information that is available with this one. So that is maybe analysis of the perception that will be available for this one.